Hi there, and if you are planning your own renovation to your home and you have plans for big home improvements, maybe that's an extension, maybe it's a loft conversion, maybe it's some kind of large reconfiguration where you want to make your ground floor open plan, whatever it is, this is a Q&A session that is part of Renovation Roadmap Live. Renovation Roadmap Live is a week-long series of Q&A sessions which start today. Today is day one, and we are going to be answering questions that are relevant to you planning out your big project, whatever that might be, whatever renovation project you've got planned. And this is part of the Renovation Roadmap Live includes a mini training from me, which helps you to really identify which decisions are going to be best for you in order to plan out your project so that you get the results that you want at the end, that it's on time, it's on budget, and it's within your quality expectations. You're going to get what you actually set out to achieve. And at each stage of a project, you have multiple options for how you can progress that stage. And you can choose which of these options based on your priority. There are pros and cons for all the options. And it's very, very difficult for most homeowners to get the kind of advice that is not simply, somebody like me, an architect who's experienced about this. A lot of architects or a lot of construction professionals have their own preferred way of doing things, and they won't necessarily tell you what it is that you can choose from, which options you have, and why one might be better for you than another. And I don't like to just tell you what you must do. I really prefer you to be informed and empowered to make the right choice for you. I believe in freedom of choice for homeowners and not to impose what's easiest and most profitable for me on you. So that's what Renovation Roadmap Live is all about. It's all about giving you your options, laying them out, explaining the pros and cons, and helping you to make the right choices for you. Now, I'm going to be answering some questions today, and these are in line with the sorts of things that you can cover in Renovation Roadmap Live. So if you are seeing this and you're thinking, actually, I want help to figure out, what the best choices are for me and my project too, then you can join Renovation Roadmap Live. It is £49. And all you need to do is click the link that's in the description box. So I also popped it in the chat there for you. Click the link, you'll get access to my training, access to the workbook, and you'll also, this week, during Live Week, you'll get access to me. You can submit your questions and get answers to those questions personally from me. If it's after the event, if you want to still join, then you can still get access to the mini course, and I will be running this live event again in the future. So you can, get access now to the DIY version if you're watching this at a later date, and then you can join the live, or you can book a one-to-one consultation call with me. So let's get into the Q&A. So I have some questions today from Hannah. And Hannah says that she's considering getting a small extension to the rear of our house, around 4.5 meters by 2 meters. And then there are a few questions, but we're not sure where to start. So starting is exactly what the Renovation Roadmap Plan helps you to lay out. And there are 4 stages to a project. And the first stage is to create a really clear vision for what it is that you want to do. But planning out each of those stages and making sure that they're in the choices within those stages are right for you. For example, how do you want to go about getting it designed? What type of design do you want? How do you want to go about getting it built? What kind of contractor do you want? Do you want a separate contractor? Do you want a design and build contractor? Do you want a project manager? Do you want to build it yourself? Do you want to do something that's within permitted planning development sort of limitations, so that you're only doing something that doesn't require planning permission? Or do you want to do something that gives you something different to what's only within permitted development requirements, and so you need to apply for planning permission? Are you in a conservation area where you may have more need to apply for planning permission? These are all different things to think about and consider as you are deciding those different stages and going through those 4 stages. So the first stage is plan out your project. Use the renovation roadmap to plan out your project, figure out what you want to do at each stage, and create a vision for how you want to live and how your home needs to be in order for you to live in that way. That's where you start. So would you need planning permission for this is question number 2. So a 4.5 metre by 2 metre extension, it very much depends which way those dimensions are. If you have a house, say well, let's see, I've got a bit of something that's square. Okay, I'm going to grab a square thing. Use my notepad. So I've got a square thing here. Imagine this is your house. The ring here is the back of your house. This edge is the front of your house. So if this is the back of your house and you're thinking about doing an extension to the back of your house, and you're thinking about something that is about 2 meters wide, so maybe it's like this, and you're going to go back 4.5 meters, then that would not typically be within permitted development. It does depend if your house is a semi-detached house or a terrace or a detached house. Detached houses have more depth that they can extend back without requiring planning permission than an attached house. So that would be a semi-detached or a terrace house, are not able to extend quite as far back. Now, this is where I need to pull on my memory, but as far as I remember, it's 3.5 meters within permitted development. And then there is another thing called extended permitted development, which I believe is 4.5 meters for a detached, but please do check that. Check that on the planning legislation. You can check what's permitted. So there's permitted development, there's extended permitted development, and then there is, a requirement to go for planning permission. If it's within permitted development, it also depends on your location. If you're in a conservation area, permitted development rules probably will not apply. And so you're still going to end up having to go for planning permission, submit a planning application, even if it would ordinarily be within permitted development elsewhere. Permitted development often shortened to PD as an FYI. So that's that question. If it's 2 meters and goes back by 4.5, if it's 4.5 meters, perhaps that's the full width or half or a bit less of the house, and then you're only going back 2 meters, then it's very likely that that would be within permitted development, because 2 meters is well within permitted development for any type of house going back 2 meters. 4.5 meters, as far as I recall, and there's so many things to remember within architecture that these little details I always check, because also legislation changes continuously. So I never quite remember if it's 3.5 is permitted development and 4.5 is extended permitted development, as far as I remember. And so that means that if it's 4.5 meters that you want to go, and that is within extended permitted development but not permitted development, then you would have to apply for extended permitted development. Extended permitted development is not automatically something you can do. You have to apply for that. So it's very similar to making a planning application, but the assumption is that you will have that approved as long as your neighbours don't object. So that's the assumption. So as long as you know that your neighbours are going to be okay with it, then you're probably going to have no problem getting that. But it's not necessarily immediately permitted development. Now, if it's a detached house, I think that it may be 5 meters that you can go back within permitted development. Again, these specific amounts of meters, check in the legislation. But would you need planning permission for this? It depends on the area that you're in. If you're in a conservation area, if you own a listed building, if you're in a green belt. So there are restrictions according to your location and your house type, and it also depends on the size of your original property. If it's already been extended once before and you're looking to add an extra extension on the back, that also. So it's very hard for me to say definitively yes or no, you can extend this without planning permission. But these are things that you need to check. What kind of area are you in? Are there any specific requirements for that area, or any particular limitations on what's permitted development in that area? What house type do you have? Is it has it already been extended before and you're extending it more? So these are things to check out to be able to answer that question. And how much would you expect to pay is the next question. And I don't know what that is referring to, because there's going to be payments required for several different things. You're going to need to pay for planning permission if you submit for planning permission. You can also apply for a certificate of lawful development. So even if your extension is within permitted development, you can apply for a certificate of lawful development so that you can prove that when you come to sell your house. You sometimes sales can get held up when solicitors are seeking reassurance for their client that actually what you've done was legally, within the legal realms of possibility. And so if you have a certificate of lawful development, that can really help you. So there are costs associated. There are costs associated with getting somebody to design and draw up plans and submit applications for you. There are costs associated with submitting the applications. Depends on the location, depends exactly what application you're applying for, if it's listed building consent, if it's conservation area, and if it's household, if it's planning extended permitted development, or if it's a certificate of lawful development. So these are all different kinds of planning applications that could be submitted on your behalf, and each of them comes with a different price tag associated with it. So again, it just needs the best way to find out easily is, first of all, figure out what you need. If you need which type of application you need to make, if you need to make an application, and then call your local, you can find out from the local planning office what the costs are for you, because different places also have slightly different costs. And then in terms of build costs, what I tend to do is a very rough finger in the air price of like £2,500 per square meter as a really finger in the air ballpark figure, because it's very difficult to say until you get down to the detail of, like, are you going to have like Carrara marble walls and gold taps, or are you going to have plywood finish walls and like very basic copper pipe faucets and a kind of an industrial aesthetic? What are you going to have? What are the details can really determine how much it's going to cost you to build it. So it's very hard to say, but I tend to put very finger in the air sum at an initial sketch design sort of stage, just to get some idea of, is that somewhere within the ballpark of your budget? And so I do definitely recommend that you set a budget, you figure out what you can comfortably afford to pay, and then then make a decision of like, well, you know, this is how much we can afford to pay. So that can then help you to figure out, well, you know, what are you going to choose for your detail finishes and so on in order to bring it to within that budget. So I hope that that has helped. Please do work through the renovation roadmap, the training, the videos, and the workbook, because that will really help you to start to make the decisions about what's important to you, exactly how much you want to be spending on this, what kinds of qualities, you know, are you looking for the marble and the gold taps, or are you looking for, you know, something more basic, or are you looking for some kind of like an in-between kind of level of quality, or are you looking for something very special? You do have a, you know, a really historic building, a listed building, and you want to make sure that it's, you know, everything is done using the traditional materials and craftsmanship. So, or are you looking to create something that's really, really eco? You want a passive house standard design? All of these things are going to really determine what decisions you make throughout your project. And that is what Renovation Roadmap Live is all about, helping you to make the right decisions, helping you to figure it out. So I hope that these answers to these questions have been helpful for you. Please do, go ahead, join Renovation Roadmap Live and submit your own questions if you have any of your own that you'd like to submit and you'd like me to answer. And Hannah, if you want to follow up with any more questions for any of the rest of this week, feel free to do that too. Lovely to speak with you today, and I will come back. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.